Hello, everyone. It's that time. It's Wednesday webinar. I'm Rebecca Jenkins, your host. I'm the multifamily trainer, and I am so grateful that you're with me today to deep dive into telephone sales. So all in the month of July, we're talking about sales. And last week, we talked about preparing for the sale. So I hope you caught that one. If you didn't, check out the replay. It's on the blog. Or you can hop over to the podcast, multifamilytrainerpodcast.com, for that replay in audio. And today we're moving on to telephone. And I really like talking about telephone sales because I think that so often our salespeople forget that it is so convenient to have your phone ring for you. They've never had sales positions where they had to go out and harvest their own leads or create those leads. And so they think that, it's kind of annoying sometimes, or it rings all the time, and they don't really value it as much as they should. It is one of your main tools to make a sale. And so we're going to talk about how to make it work better for you and what to do on those phone calls to make a bigger impression on your prospects to get them through the door to an appointment. We're going to go over the top 5 ways to convert a call into an appointment. And this training will help with building your pipeline, increasing your closing percentage, strengthening your sales confidence, maximizing your lead return, and decreasing the amount of time needed on basically like unfruitful follow-up. Because if we properly manage our leads from the beginning, if we make a good impression, set that appointment, get them in, we will be able to weed out the unfruitful leads much earlier in the process rather than continuing to try time and time again to follow up when they're not going to convert. They've crossed you off their list. So I like to teach the 9-3-1 rule. So typically when someone is looking for an apartment, they look on whatever marketing source that is, nowadays mostly online, but they might drive the area or something like that. And they start by calling 9 apartment communities on average. Then it funnels down and they go and view 3 communities and then ultimately lease at 1 community, hence 9, 3, and 1. So when you have a telephone call, your only goal, your only objective is to not get eliminated. It's to get a set appointment so that they actually come in. When people are calling around to apartment communities, they are looking for reasons to cross you off the list. It's not like you are so much different or so much more unbelievable than the next community down the street that they would put up with subpar service or a subpar telephone call to come see you. That's not the case. So you have to wow them from the beginning. It's your chance to make a good first impression and to make them feel like this could be their new home. There is a lot, I'm going to skip that and come back to that slide, but there's a lot that we went over last week that you will need to kind of know as a foundation for this webinar today. And so if you missed it, I do encourage you to go back for the replay. But the 3 things is to, 1, have an appointment goal. Make sure you know what you're working towards each day. I recommend at least 3 to be your appointment goal. And put something visual on your phone. Put like a Post-it note with 3 circles. And as the phone rings, look down and say, hey, I still have to make appointments. This is really important. And it will help connect your goals with the phone call ringing. And then 2 is know your inventory. Last week, you really talked about how to be the expert, know your inventory. What do you have to rent? What do you have to show? Have you walked those? It's just really critical. And then 3rd is always have a positive mindset. So when someone is calling you, have the mindset that you are the person who's going to help them with their problem. They need a home, they're looking to move, and you have all the right answers to help them in their journey. And if your community is not the best community, you still are going to be the best person for them to talk to. And that will really translate into the tone and the feel of your phone calls and how your prospects kind of interpret you. We are going to go over those top reasons or top ways to convert telephone calls today. But if you want a deeper dive, I did want to make sure that you knew about an upcoming group coaching that I'm doing. It's starting on the 16th of this month, and there's 2 classes going. So some people may need to start on the Sales Foundations group class, and some people are really a lot past that, and they might want to go to the Multifamily Advanced Sales class. But both of them are starting on the 16th. They're group coaching. Each group has a limited amount of people. There can only be 10 in each group. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and hop on over to the website, multifamilytrainer.com, check out coaching, and get more information. All right, let's get into it. Number 1 way to convert your telephone calls into an appointment is remember that they called you. They called you. They want to hear what you have to give them. I think a lot of salespeople are timid or maybe a little bit passive when it comes to closing or putting their best foot forward on what they can do for you because they're trying to just make someone happy on the other line. Well, that person is already in a situation where they have a problem, they have a need, and so now what they need is someone to come alongside them and help them out. Selling is serving. You are the answer to their problems, and they called you. So it's definitely not an inconvenience to get a phone call. It is an honor to get a phone call that somewhere along your marketing stream, they thought that you had something that you could present them with that made them actually pick up a phone, dial the phone number, or click the link on a website to give you a phone call. And so answer the phone every single time that you can. Even if you have a prospect in front of you, I would say, hey, do you mind me just grabbing this really quick just to get their information and then I'll get off the phone with them? Is that okay with you? And most people are going to say, yeah, no problem. And the reason is that remember the 931 rule. If they're just meaning to eliminate you, if that's the 25 minutes that they've dedicated to call apartment communities and you didn't answer, they're moving on. You're scratched off the list. So answer the phone so you can get back to them and they can say, oh, this person was busy, which means people like living there. They're already have residents who are engaged, and yet they're going to call me back. So now I can trust that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. That's great. Much, much better than not answering the phone. All right. Number 2 is be an informed friend. Everyone wants their friend's advice and their help. So be the informed friend to your prospects. If people call you that you don't know and ask you for advice, you probably are not that engaged. You're like, yeah, sure. Well, you could do this. I don't care. You don't care. But when you're an informed friend, you really care about the outcome. So when they're calling you, act like you're helping a friend. Act like you have the answers and that's your expertise because it is. Your community is your expertise. And you're there to help and guide them. Not overpower, not steer, but just give them the information that they need in order to make an informed decision and hopefully make them see the value in what you have to offer them. But you are the informed friend, so be that friend to the prospects. Number 3, listen. Just listen. Don't listen and assume that you know the answers to what they have. Don't listen to respond. Just listen. Although some of the questions that they ask may be the same, it's still the only time that you have a chance to make a first impression. So if you're listening to them, I want to give you an example. And they call and they say, hi, I'm looking for a 2-bedroom. I just got a job transfer and I need it in your area. Can you tell me about your 2 bedrooms? An inexperienced salesperson would dial into what's important to them. Okay, a 2-bedroom. That's on my list of information that I need to get. So I'm going to get a 2-bedroom, and they might follow up with a question like, well, when do you need it by? Okay, that's okay. But an advanced salesperson or someone who really cares, that's an informed friend, that's listening well, might respond and say, Oh, you got a job transfer? That's so exciting. Yeah, I can help you out with a 2-bedroom, but tell me more about the transfer. Is it coming up soon or was it a promotion? They're still getting their information that they need. They're still getting more details about that prospect's move, but they're connecting it and relating it to them because they listened to what that person had to say. They listened and heard that that person is going through an adventure in their life. They're going through a job change, and that is a big deal. And so moving is another big deal. So this person's in a huge flux transition point of life, and they need someone as a guide, as an informed friend to help them navigate these somewhat tumultuous waters that are, although they're exciting, it's a lot of work. It's really daunting to think about a new job, a new home. Whoa, those are major stressors in life. So remember, just listen to your prospects. Take the time. No one's in a rush. Just listen. Number 4, take notes. You need to write down their words. So a good sales presentation will involve almost like mimicking, like a parrot, some of what the prospect said that they needed. It will help correlate what they think in their mind to what you have to present. So let me give you an example. If that person said, that we just were talking about, said, yeah, I just got a promotion, and so I live in a 1-bedroom right now, but I'm going to be needing to work from home, and I just really need like a quiet, serene place to concentrate in my 2nd bedroom because that's where I'm going to have to work, and I'm kind of nervous about working from home. Okay, if you did your listening and you took a couple quick notes and said, serene 2nd bedroom, right? Just something that simple. I'm not talking about going crazy. And then now you've taken that note. You've scheduled the appointment for 3 days after their call, and they're about to come in. And you review your notes, and you remember, oh yes, she said she wanted a serene 2nd bedroom. You now can go to her, and when you're showing that bedroom that you've already selected, it's further away from the road, you've tried to meet her every needs that she has. When you're in there, say, this feels really serene to me. Is this what you were looking for? Does it feel serene to you? Because if you're using her words and then she says, yeah, it does feel that way to me. Wow, you are going to close that sale so much more likely than just, okay, here's the 2nd bedroom, so it's going to be pretty quiet, nice to work in. That still is okay, but we're talking about taking it to another level, people. Like, I'm not here to give you like the basics. I'm here to give you the nitty-gritty. What can you use tomorrow on your sales presentations that's really going to make a difference in your percentages of closing? That type of item of taking those notes on those telephone calls, reviewing them before an appointment, and then using their words in your demonstration, that will convert. You need to be doing that if you're not already. And lastly, number 5, holds closed sales. You're like, Rebecca, what are you talking about? Holds closed sales. People wait for 5-star service. So a lot of people are hesitant to put someone on hold on a phone conversation. And I think it's just really funny. So I like to bring it up of, you know what? You have created this beautiful, luxurious property online that's made them call you. And now you're giving them good service, but instead of taking 2 more minutes to verify information that's correct for them or calculate the correct out the door price, that takes a minute, guys. Don't sit awkwardly on the phone with them as they listen to your back office and another phone ring and a resident coming in. Just say, you know what, I want to calculate this for you. I think it's really important that you know your out the door number every month and you know that your move-in amount is correct. So can I please on hold for a minute? Put them on hold. Make sure that everything is aligned and then get back on the phone and say, your out the door number is this. That will be so much better service than either keeping them on the phone as you do the calculations and them hearing the background music or giving them an incorrect, or worse yet, I've heard this over and over, well, it's this plus this plus this plus this. So now you're expecting them to do the math? That's weird. That's not 5-star service. You do it for them. And then better yet, when you get off the phone call, put it in writing and email it to them in your follow-up. But that's what I'm talking about, guys, is that holds do close sales. Don't be afraid of a hold. Same thing, and we'll talk about this next week in touring, but same thing with touring. Don't be afraid to like leave them in your beautiful clubhouse as you go figure out something for them. That's okay. It's a great environment. So anyway, that's a little sneak peek on next week. But holds close sales. I'm going to leave you with a quote. We're almost wrapping up on the presentation side, and then we'll get into questions. But the quote is from Patricia Fripp, and she says, "It's not your customer's job to remember you. It's your obligation and responsibility to make sure that they don't have a chance to forget you." So how do you apply this to your telephone sales? Are you memorable? Are you unforgettable? Because it's not your customer's job to be like, oh yeah, I called, Hanover Park yesterday and I talked to Rebecca. No. They're like, I call this place, it's like over by this street, and I talked to this girl, blah, blah, blah. We want it to be so unforgettable that they're like, man, you got to talk to Rebecca at Hanover. She's amazing. She helped me out so much. Make your phone calls unforgettable. Next week, we're going to be having another Wednesday webinar, as always. And the topic I kind of already alluded to is nailing the tour. So now you've prepared for the sale. You've had them talk to you on the phone, and now they're about to come in. How do you nail the tour? That's what we're going to talk about. All right, the presentation's over for today, and we are going to jump into some questions. So I'm going to stop the recording, and I see a couple of questions actually piling up, so that's exciting.